Welcome to this week's Read the Bible Together session. And we are continuing our Old Testament story and the journey of the Israelites and Moses. And you'll remember that last week they escaped from Egypt and the Pharaoh, with God providing them a path through the Red Sea by parting the waters. And now, today, our story continues with their journey through the wilderness to find their homeland that God has promised in their freedom. You can follow along in Exodus chapter 16, verses 1 through 18, and chapter 17, verses 1 through 7. We, of course, will read from the Spark Story Bible from Spark House Publishing, and the story is called Manna, Quail, and Water. God loved the Israelites and their leader Moses, and God promised to bring the people to a place where they could build homes and live happily. They had never lived outside of Egypt before, and they were afraid. But God went with them as they walked long and far to the place God promised. Traveling was hard and tiring, and along the way, the people became hungry. They complained to Moses. "I am hungry," cried one boy. "I wish we could go back to Egypt," whined a little girl. "At least we had food there to eat." Her stomach growled. The people missed their dinners of meat and bread. The Israelites didn't know that God heard them complaining, and that evening something strange happened. Tiny birds called quails appeared everywhere. God had sent the quails so people could eat meat. And there you can see Moses with everybody complaining and crying because they were hungry, and then God sent the quails so that they would have something to eat. Now, the next morning, the ground glistened with fresh dew, and even after the sun dried up the dew, there was still something covering the ground. It looked like bread had rained down from heaven. It was manna. The manna looked like tiny seeds and tasted like bread. The people ate and ate. Every day, God sent manna and quails, so the people had food to eat. The Israelites kept traveling toward the place God promised, and after a while, they ran out of water. Even though God had given them food when they were hungry, the people still complained. "My mouth feels dry like a desert," sobbed a child. The people were thirsty, and this time God told Moses to hit a rock with his staff. When he did, water gushed out of the rock, and the people had more than enough to drink. God gave food and water to the Israelites every day. God took care of the people, just like God promised. And there you go. You can see the water gushing out of the rock, and over here, the little pellets of manna in the grass every day. So, what are some things that you need that God has provided? Think about that, talk about that, and say a prayer of thanksgiving for all that God has given you this week.